Joining us now to discuss BTC price and more is Matt Hougan. He's the Chief Investment Officer at Bitwise Asset Management. Matt, great to have you as always this afternoon. So Bitcoin is weaving above $23,000 now. Is this rally sustainable?
Thanks for having me on, Christine. I think it's sustainable over the long term, but I don't think we're out of the woods in terms of volatility. What I mean by that is if you think of what's happened since the turn of the year, we've seen a combination of shorts covering and a combination of cash that was on the sidelines going into year end, allocating to the market, that wanted to have an allocation but was waiting for the year to clear before moving in. That's boosted us up to this $23,000 level. I do think we'll end the year higher, but there is still a lot of risk out there. I wouldn't assume that we will continue marching up and to the right directly. So this is a great thing. It's a good thing. Long term, it's sustainable, but I do think there may be more volatility on the horizon.
Let's talk about 2023. Bitwise has unveiled its 2023 annual survey. What are some of your key findings?
Oh, this is an amazing survey. We've now done it for 5 years. Every year we ask financial advisors, what are they thinking about crypto? And why does that matter? Well, financial advisors control the wealth of the majority of Americans. They control north of $10 trillion in assets. So whether and when they allocate to crypto is a big deal. And we learned a lot from this year's survey. We learned that financial advisors didn't retreat from the market in 2022. Last year, about 16% of advisors had allocations to crypto and client accounts. This year, it's held steady at 15%. Most of those people plan to maintain or increase that allocation. So the financial advisors, the professional investors, the institutions that we've been waiting to come into the market, they moved into the market in some size. They're staying there, and we expect that to expand dramatically in 2023 and beyond.
Interesting. I also saw that the survey broke down investor outlook for Bitcoin. So what's the overall outlook there?
Yeah, I would characterize it as short-term bearish, long-term bullish. So the majority of financial advisors that we surveyed expected the price of Bitcoin to end this year at or below current levels. But when we asked them what they think about over 5 years, 60% of them thought it was going to increase in price, and more than a third of them thought that it would triple from where it ended 2022. And that's important because financial advisors are focused on the long haul. They are not making short-term trading bets. They're making long-term asset allocation bets. And what that long-term optimistic horizon says, that even though we had such a caustic bear market last year, advisors continue to be interested in crypto, they continue to allocate to Bitcoin, and they think it will appreciate over time. I do think this is the next big wave of investors coming into the crypto market, and I think it's a very large wave indeed.
So right now, they can invest in Bitcoin ETFs. So what are they doing instead?
Yeah, the number one tool that they pointed to in terms of what they're interested in allocating to is actually crypto equity ETFs. ETFs like Bitwise has one with BITQ that invest in companies like Coinbase, in companies like Silvergate, in Bitcoin mining companies. That's easier for many financial advisors because it fits into their portfolio management system. It's usually approved by their platforms. They can buy it today instead of having to get special exemptions to invest directly in Bitcoin. So in lieu of that spot Bitcoin ETF, which we're still waiting for and which will be a big win for investors, they're buying crypto equity ETFs, which are highly correlated to crypto, but are easier for these professional investors to access.
I saw that 90% of financial advisors are receiving inbound questions from clients about crypto. What kind of questions are they receiving? And is there concern over, the crypto contagion we've seen over the past year?
Yeah, it's an amazing statistic, right? Nearly every financial advisor in America is receiving questions about crypto from their clients, which means they need to study this market. They need to listen to programs like this so they can answer those questions. And the incredible thing about that fact was the number one question they got last year. Remember, during a historic bear market where the market price fell more than 60%, the number one question they got from investors is, should I be allocating to crypto? Should I be buying it today? Of course, the investors are worried about volatility. They're worried about regulation, and rightly so. But they're still interested in thinking about allocating to this market. It's one of the reasons, one of the contributing factors why I think we'll end the year substantially higher than we are today. These investors are on the sidelines. The bear market didn't scare them away. Their advisors are getting more educated, and more of them are allocating into this space.
So let's get into the news a bit. So the SEC rejected 21 shares as BTC ETF, Bitcoin ETF. Warren is praising the SEC for not approving a Bitcoin ETF. And the SEC is being sued by Grayscale, and they're going to present arguments on March 7th about them wanting to convert their Grayscale Bitcoin Trust to a spot Bitcoin ETF. So I'm just wondering, is the environment still bad, though, for Bitcoin spot ETF prospects, in your view? And I should note that Bitwise has tried to get a spot Bitcoin ETF as well.
Yeah, we have tried twice in the past, and like many other providers, have not been successful. We don't currently have a filing. I think it's unlikely we see a spot Bitcoin ETF this year, and I think that's unfortunate. I heard what Elizabeth Warren said, but the reality is a spot Bitcoin ETF would be the safest, cheapest, and most convenient way to access what has been the best performing asset in the world over the last 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 years. And investors have been denied that because regulators have been unwilling to do it. So I think that's unfortunate. In the interim, they're finding other ways. They're using separately managed accounts. They're using private funds. They're using Bitcoin futures ETFs, like you mentioned. That contango you talked about is a cost to investors. So I wish we were going to get a spot Bitcoin ETF. I think we will. It may be next year. I think it's unlikely this year, and I think that's unfortunate.
All right, Matt. Thanks for your insights. That was Bitwise Asset Management Chief Investment Officer, Matt Hougan.